Camden, here we are again, another Open. What brings you back?
Well, I guess now this year I'm defending, so I guess that's what's brought me back. But I feel like the British is definitely one of the biggest Opens. Always one of my favorites to come battle in.
So you've just come in overnight this morning.
Yesterday.
Yep. Yesterday. Now that you've been around the circuit a while and you can show up in as late as you possibly can, how do you approach your first round matches?
Well, you never assume anything. I think, last year I had really bad luck. I was actually trying to get here early and my flight got canceled, so I had to arrive the same day as my match. But, I played these courts enough over the years that practice is great and all, but I'm more just kind of trying to prime myself for the week. So I'm not so much worried about getting used to the court, and I'm really trying to keep the body and everything ready to go. And so the first round for me is always a great opportunity to kind of get fired up, get the juices flowing, and battle my way through against a tough opponent.
How's the preparation been for this week?
It's been great. I just moved back down to Charleston, South Carolina, so did a fun event over the weekend with Tim, Nikki, and John. So I got some great practice in with those boys and feel rested, and body feels better than it's felt in a long time. So that's really encouraging for me.
On the seeding, you've got a quarterfinal potentially with Steve Vagona. How would you see that battle going? I think the last time you faced was at the US Pro, where you won quite comfortably.
Oh, Steve and I have had too many battles to remember at this point. So it'll be a tough one. Steve's a great competitor. I think he's priming himself for the Eliminators coming up, and he's really made a resurgence over the last couple of years. He's been playing great tennis, and so if I can get there and battle it out with him, it'll be a tough one. But I'm feeling good about my game and my body, and just hopefully it all goes well.
What's the goal coming into this tournament?
Oh, to win. Yeah.
Any players in the bottom half of the draw that you're thinking might come through?
I think it's been a very strong tournament so far. I think we've had a lot of really close matches. I'd love to see that continue on here in the as we get into the latter stages. Obviously, Nikki I think is a really strong seed. I think Rob's playing really well. I think he and Leon are maybe now playing each other, and I think that'll be a really fun one to watch. But it's always, when Rob's in the draw, at least I've been seeing it for 20 years and playing against him for so long that, when I see his name in the draw, you always assume he's going to kind of be there in the latter stages. And I think he and Nikki, a potential semifinal line matchup would be really fun to watch.
This is the last event in the World Race. I appreciate that you don't have to worry about that this time around. But we are going to go into a series of eliminators in the early part of next year. As the defending champion, what lens do you watch those eliminators through?
Well, last time I was the practice partner. I was John's practice partner for his first round eliminator, and hit with both he and Nikki and Ben a little bit. So I don't know. I'd love to be involved again this time if anybody wants help, but it's a luxury to not have to battle it out in those matches, but at the same time, they're getting a great opportunity to train and play competitive matches and work on their games, whereas I'm more just sitting around waiting. So I'm envious in some ways of the extra practice matches and things that they get, but at the same time, I know that I'm where you want to be. I'm in a safe position where I can focus solely on September.
Historically, the eliminators have been quite close to the actual challenge. This time and last time, it was a much bigger gap of about 6 months. Does that change the approach? Oh,
definitely. It used to be, I think, more of an advantage sometimes coming through the eliminators, because you basically were playing these tournament-style matches, and everything was just kind of in stride. You finish one, you have a few weeks off, then you start training again, then you have another one, a few weeks off, and then you're playing in the World Championship. So it was a logical progression. And the champion was kind of just sitting there waiting, training obviously, but you basically were playing against this primed opponent who's had these great matches. Whereas now, you have the whole summer to train, and they have the whole summer off after they qualify. So it's not as much of an advantage. I think it's a much more fair process now. I think it's a better setup. It gives the club time to advertise the event with both players being known, and I think the hardest thing for the guys in the eliminators now is actually U.S. Pro Singles, because they've just finished this major stretch, and the guy who's qualified now is thinking about September, but he's got to try and turn back up in June for Pro Singles.
So we've recently had the announcement of the venue for the 25 Challenge as Newport, the place where you won your first World Championship. What's it going to be like going back there to defend?
I'm hoping great. I'm hoping a lot of fun. I obviously love Newport. It's one of my favorite places in the world. I've had great success there, but I also think that some of that comes from being in a great mindset. You know, when you go to a city that you like and the weather's nice and the court plays well, it's very easy to feel positive about your tennis. And I know Newport will do a great job. Tony's there. The Hall of Fame's really stepped up over the last few years, and I think they're going to put on a great show.
And also for the first time hosting the women's in the same venue at the same year, even if it's not at the same time of year.
Oh, it's very cool. I mean, obviously never been done. I feel bad for Tony. It's going to create a pretty long summer for him between Ladies World Championship, U.S. Pro, Pell Cup, and then Men's World Championship. But it's going to be a heck of a season and summer for Newport. So all I'd say is if you guys have the opportunity to go, please get to Newport. There's going to be a whole summer of activity.
Looking at the doubles now, you partnered up with Tim again.
Yep. After his results this week, hopefully some days off will help his body recover. I know it's a tough one for him.
How's he feeling after his match against John Woods Casey earlier on?
I haven't gotten to speak with him too much, and I don't want to speak for him. Obviously, I'm sure he's bummed out. He would have liked to have gotten through that and be playing today. But I think it's tough. I think the hardest part is, and maybe it's something we need to look at, is that, he played now on Sunday and then doesn't play again until Friday for the first match of the doubles. So that's almost an entire week of waiting, which is a rough go. But I know he'll be more than fired up come Friday. So.
Looking at some of the pairs in the draw, and we've also got the former champions Faye and Vagona back together. That must be a potential rematch you're looking forward to. Oh yeah, I mean,
that was the battle for the longest time, right? The same way Rob and I battled it out for a number of years, and Steve and I have. This group of four, Tim, myself, Rob, and Steve, have kind of been battling it out for singles and doubles world championships for the better part of 15, 20 years. And I'm really looking forward to seeing them on court together again. It's been a little while, and I'm just excited to see that dynamic back. I think they're going to be a very, very strong team, and I'm not saying they're the favorites to make the final, but it's hard to see that pair together and not think that they're going to do well.
And then tell me about Nikki and Leon as a partnership as well.
Well, so they're a more established team now. Obviously, Nick and Rob had played together for a number of years, but in Rob's absence, Leon and Nikki have been playing together a fair amount. And I think that team building can do a lot. The more you play with somebody, the better you know their habits and things, and they've had some up and down results, but I think they'll be very fired up for this week and wanting to prove something. And I look forward to seeing them, trying to do that.
Lastly, you've moved back down to Charleston now. There's a court project going on down there. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Sure. It's very exciting, the Charleston Racket Club. We've been very lucky. Obviously, things didn't work out at Daniel Island where we were hoping to build. And when that project kind of ended, the current Charleston Squash Club was looking to expand, and we reached out to them about joining that process, and they said yes. And basically, all the documents have been signed. Everything's moving forward. We're in the process of starting construction now. The current building needs to be raised a little bit to continue, but that process has begun in hopes of finishing by this time next year. So very, very exciting.
And one more question for you. What's your calendar look like in the rest of this season?
That's a good question. So we get back from this, and we have this tournament in the U.S. called National Open, which you have to live in the U.S. for. And so we have that first weekend in December, so I'll be playing in that. My plan is to basically play everything now that I'm a touring pro again. So I'll be going to Australia in January, and obviously U.S. Open in Washington. I'm very excited for that, for their first Open. So I'll be there to support them, and U.S. Pro is always a favorite of mine, so I'll be there for that. But yeah, the plan is to play everything.
Any hints at who you might be pairing up with in Australia?
I don't know if it's a hint, because I'm pretty sure the entry form already went in from him. But I'm excited to pull Mr. Chapman out of his partial retirement. He and I've never gotten to play together, and I just thought it would be a really fun opportunity to get out there with him. We've battled it out from the opposite end a fair amount, and I guess I'm at the stage in my career now where you don't know how many years are left, and I would be remiss if I didn't get to play with him at least once in my life. So I'm super, super excited to play some doubles with him.
All right, Camden Riviere, thank you very much.
Thank you.